What is going on, guys? Money Webby here, back again, week 2 with some more tournament talk. Some of my favorite guys in GPP and just tournament play, trying to leverage yourself ahead of the competition and going with some lower owned guys. So this is going to be less like safe plays. It's more kind of risky upside guys that can really give you a leg up over some other lineups and just kind of tournament plays, I guess, just going off ownership projections and all that good stuff, and maybe some game script and just some, I don't know, all that kind of psychological stuff that goes into picking some plays. So I got it broken down for you. Every position, 3 of my favorite guys from 4 and one of them. So go ahead and drop a like in the video before we get going. Really helps me out so I can keep these videos coming to you week in, week out. And hit that subscribe button if you happen to be new here to the channel to get these videos if you enjoy the NFL DFS content. And I also do NBA videos as that season is approaching right around the corner there too. So if you want all this good action, this good content, be sure to do that. And after you hit the subscribe button, you can hit the bell icon to get alerted every time I upload, so you don't want to miss out on the content. And yeah, let's get into it. Quarterback first up, Jared Goff. I think he's going to go off here in the spot. Jared Goff gonna go off against the Arizona Cardinals defense. They looked absolutely putrid week 1. Couldn't get off the field against the Redskins here. And that could easily happen again here against the Rams. But I think they'll have a little bit more big play potential with a guy like Brandon Cooks, with guys like Robert Woods. I think they'll just slice and dice on really quick and be up like. And Jared Goff, like, I think what is making people kind of be off Jared Goff a little bit is because that potential of the Rams getting up so big and they just kind of run the ball a lot. But with Sean McVay's offense, he's very aggressive throughout the whole entire game. And Jared Goff could still go for like 150 yards and like 2 or 3 touchdowns in the first half and already like cement himself as a good value and just like 2 quarters or even 3 quarters of play. So I'm not too worried about that. And they're tied for the highest implied total of the slate with 29 points. So Vegas likes him a lot. I'm buying into him here as a kind of contrarian play than this Rams offense. I think more people are going to be on like Todd Gurley and some of the receivers. But Jared Goff, he's going overlooked too much. So that's my first quarterback. And second up, we're going to go with Matty Ice. Looked really bad week 1. But he had a few extra days to kind of think about his performance and maybe kind of rest up the arm, kind of work through some kinks that he showed in week 1. So against the Eagles, I mean, that's a really tough defense, and this Carolina defense is a little bit more friendly, especially against passing. I think you can really tear apart or kind of like, I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but carve apart this passing defense. And I think he's going to be throwing the ball a lot here again and get over 40 pass attempts. And this Carolina offense is going to be able to move the ball pretty well here against Atlanta as they're down 2 of their best defenders. So I think he's going to rebound from his bad performance last week and have a good amount of yardage. If he can just punch the ball in the end zone, he's going to be a really good value at 5,700. You definitely have those red zone concerns again here, but they're going to figure it out eventually, right? I don't think Matt Ryan's going to go the whole entire year without throwing for a touchdown. So he's due for a touchdown here in week 2. 5,700, way too good of a price. So that's my second guy. And finally, Alex Smith here at 6,000. He just doesn't get the respect he's deserved. He's kind of way too boring of a play, I guess, because he's just throwing the ball like 5 yards every play, but he's effective. He puts up the numbers. We saw last year with Kansas City. He had some huge games. He has some rushing ability quietly. He can get like 20 rushing yards, which can help it. It's like 2 points. So that can go a long way. And he's going against a bad Colts defense. They don't have many playmakers at all. And the Skins offense that has a lot of options. So Alex Smith, that kind of gives you some exposure to this Redskins offense and has that upside because I think the Redskins can post a lot of points here on this Indianapolis Colts defense. And like I said, has that rushing ability. So some solid upside. Can easily go for 20-plus DraftKings points. That's the third guy at quarterback. So Goff, Matty Ice, and Alex Smith are 3 guys I'm looking at that are currently under-owned and I think have some good upside in the matchup. So for my first running back, David Johnson here. I think the ownership is really going to be on guys like Kamara, Gurley. I think Gordon and McCaffrey are going to be really highly owned. So I think David Johnson could go under-owned on this slate. And we know the touch upside is there. We saw it in 2016. The guy just got a ton of touches, even in the worst of games. Like, the game script was never really against them because he'd be getting a ton of receptions when they were down. You kind of want him in this game script, honestly, against the Rams. Like, I want him to be down like 14 points where he's still running the ball a little bit, but he's getting a lot of receptions. And the way you attack this Rams defense is with the receiving backs, the tight ends, and those slot wide receivers. So this Cardinals offense actually does match up pretty well against this Rams defense on paper, because you got Larry Fitzgerald against the slot cornerback. I don't know if Wade Phillips will change his approach, but normally he keeps Aqib Talib, and he just got them. But normally he keeps like those guys on the outside and really doesn't follow. So I'm expecting Larry Fitzgerald to have an easier matchup. David Johnson to be pretty easily open against their bad linebacker play. Like we saw with Jalen Richard, he was open a good amount. He had 9 catches last week. So David Johnson does have that upside. He could get like 8 to 10 catches here, which is great in full point PPR. And I think people are a little bit afraid because when you look at his game log, that's really worrisome. He only got 14 touches, but if you dive a little bit deeper, his usage was still very good. It's just that they had a really low play total. They only had 51 plays, which is the second fewest play total out of any NFL team last week. We saw the Raiders have 64 plays in comparison. So in 13 more plays, like David Johnson could have gotten like 5 more touches. So that would have been what, like 19 touches, which wouldn't have been bad at all. But I think he can get like 20 touches here. 25 touches, he has the upside, and a lot of those could be receptions as they're down a good amount. So I think that's a really good upside play. He's their red zone guy, too. He got 4 red zone targets in week 1. So upside is crazy. And at 8,200 for a workhorse like him, it's a really good value. So that's my first running back. And second guy, extremely risky here, but LeSean McCoy at 5,700. On paper, it's a good matchup. I mean, the Chargers don't have a good run defense. And this Bills offense, I think they could be a little bit better with Josh Allen at the helm. With Peterman, this seems like a disaster every time he kind of takes the field as a starter. So with McCoy here with Josh Allen, could get some more things going. And McCoy had a really good game against this Chargers defense last year. I do know that the Bills offense is a little bit changed. They lost a few pieces in their offensive line, which doesn't help, and also Tyrod Taylor kind of helped the running game, I think, a little bit. But McCoy has that ability here to get a lot of touches, and if they're down a good amount, if they're not down like 40 points where they take on off the field, he could get like 5 to 6 catches. Like, he's really the only playmaker on this Bills offense. So you expect them to use him a lot, similar to like David Johnson a little bit, but they do have Larry Fitzgerald. But he's just one of those guys where you need to give him like 25 to 30 touches. And in this game, I think it could be closer than people expect, because the Chargers, they play down to their opponents, it seems like. Like, you expect the Chargers to come in here and kind of blow the roof off this Bills team. But you never know with them. Like, the Chargers are impossible to predict. You think they're going to go to the playoffs with like a godly roster, and then they just disappoint everyone. So I think they could easily disappoint this game. And it is a West Coast team traveling to the East Coast. Sometimes they can be a letdown in those spots. And the Bills, they're going to be pretty angry here after getting absolutely demolished week 1, I think. And McCoy, he could have a good game, I think, honestly. So a good GPP option. The touch upside is really good, and he could definitely be overlooked after an abysmal performance in week 1. Definitely risky, like I said, but upside is tremendous. So that's my second running back. Got to flip the page here in my notes. James White is third up. This is only if, though, Rex Burkhead or Sony Michel does not play. So his snap share goes up a little bit. But if both of those guys are playing, adds more uncertainty and less chance of him getting a snap count that I'm looking for. I think in this game, if one of those guys are out, I think he could get 50% of the snaps and get 5 to 6 catches again here against a very tough secondary, which kind of make Tom Brady, I think, look for James White more than normal, like we saw last week. He got 9 targets again. Or not again, but in week 1, 4 for 38 in the receiving game and a touchdown. I think he could have a very similar game, get around 10 to 15 touches, and have a nice little game. And like I said, that'll definitely help if Burkhead or Sony Michel are out, because that will add him more snaps on his plate, and just more opportunity comes with that. So 4,500, really good value, some good upside, and a really good offense. So I think that's a good little play there. And another guy, Alfred Morris. I'm not sure who priced Alfred Morris this week, but he's still 3,600, an extremely good matchup. I guess the pricing might have came out before Monday Night Football. Actually, I'm not really sure. It might have came out on Tuesday. I didn't really check, but still, 3,600 going against Detroit. Their running defense looked god-awful week 1 against the Jets. They let up 177 yards to the likes of Isaiah Crowell, who looked terrible last year, and then Bilal Powell, who was like a non-factor last year. So two guys you wouldn't expect you would allow 177 yards to. So I think a guy like Alfred Morris has the ability. He did look solid in the first couple of series, slowed down as the game went on, but this is a much easier matchup than the Vikings in week 1. So I think things are going to get easier here. The game script will be more in their favor. They were down to the Vikings like the whole entire game. And he does have that touchdown ability. He did cough the ball up in the red zone last game, but I think he can redeem himself here in this game against Detroit. He should be able to be given the chance in the red zone again here. I'm guessing if he kind of messes up this game again here, then they'll turn to like Breida or the fullback. So at 3,600, really good value. Can definitely not turn that up. I think if you want to pay down at running back all the way, then you can pay up a wide receiver or quarterback or tight end or something like that. So now on a receiver, Jarvis Landry here. The opportunity for this guy is way too good. His target share is off the radar again, like over 30% of the target share in week 1. He got 15 targets, 7 for 106. I mentioned him a lot for that reason because Josh Gordon not really put into the offense as much. He's behind the 8 ball because he wasn't really at training camp and working with Tyrod Taylor. But still, that chemistry is definitely evident with Tyrod Taylor and Jarvis Landry. And I think in this game, the pacing is going to be very good for Jarvis Landry. I think the Saints are going to be scoring very quickly, allowing a lot of plays and just a lot of targets again here for Jarvis Landry. I think he's going to get over 10 targets again here in a positive game script where they're working from behind. There's like a 1% chance the Saints lose to this game. I don't think they're going to lose to the Bucs. And then Tyrod Taylor. That'd be pretty damn embarrassing. The only way I'd see that happen maybe if Sean Payton didn't even go to practice this week and he was like, hey, Drew Brees, you come up with a game plan. Even then, I think they'd probably still win, actually. So I don't know. But Jarvis Landry should be in a good spot here. So that's my first wide receiver there. Like I said, opportunity is way too good. And we're going to stick in that same game. Ted Ginn at 4,800. He was questionable, but it looks like he should be good to go. I think the beat reporters are kind of not saying it's too big of an issue, more of a maintenance thing, I think, because he's a little bit older. But he has a huge game potential here against Cleveland. We know he always has the big play potential. He can go deep for like 50 yards and get a touchdown, and then return value already. And then he can go on top of that, and just anything on top of that is going to give him really good value at 4,800. So in this matchup against Cleveland, a thing that really, like when I looked at the slate on Monday, the thing that really stood out to me is I was like, wait, Denzel Ward, he looked extremely good on Sunday. The guy got 2 picks, and he was playing some really good coverage on Antonio Brown. I'm not sure if you've heard of him, but he's the best wide receiver in football. So that's extremely impressive. So if he matches up with Michael Thomas in this game, they could put Thomas more in the slot. That kind of get him away from Denzel Ward, and I don't think Ward would probably follow him. But still, Thomas does line up outside a decent amount, like 50% of the snaps. So Ted Ginn, he'll probably be matched up with Mitchell a little bit more in this game. So I think he could torch Mitchell and get a good play, and then Ward could limit Thomas a little bit more here. So that could give maybe an extra target or two for Ted Ginn. I don't expect him to be losing in this game, which could hurt his upside, but still, he has that huge play upside against a bad Cleveland secondary for the most part. And we saw in that Pittsburgh game, Juju Smith-Schuster, he got 5 catches for 120 yards. And Antonio Brown had a quiet game. So that could be something that happens here, honestly, with the Saints, with Ted Ginn having a really big game, like a 5 for 120. Hopefully a score too. And at 4,800, it's a nice little price tag. So that's my second wide receiver. And for my final guy, I have a really good feeling about him. Corey Davis at 5,100. Another guy with opportunity. Great opportunity. You got to follow the targets and just opportunities in every single offense. I mean, that's kind of obvious nowadays. People preach that over and over again. Opportunity, that's everything in fantasy football. And that's going to be evident here again. With this Titans offense, he's really the only go-to guy here with Delanie Walker gone. And he got 13 targets with Delanie Walker there for 3 quarters. So that's still pretty damn impressive. I think he can get over 10 targets here again against a really bad Texans secondary. So some good matchups like Jonathan Joseph is their number 1 cornerback. I think Corey Davis is a really good matchup against them because he's way more athletic. Joseph is 34 years old, so he definitely doesn't have the same chops he used to keep up with a guy like Corey Davis, who's extremely athletic. So 5,100, a really good value. And if he can just find the end zone, I think he can have a huge game. I could see a 7 for 100 and a touchdown here in this game. So really good upside. And Houston, the run defense is pretty solid, so that could turn the Titans more into a passing attack approach here in this game. So that's my final wide receiver. Corey Davis, go with Ted Ginn and Jarvis Landry. And now on a tight end, my first guy I'm looking at is going to be Jordan Reed. You can pair him up with Alex Smith like I mentioned earlier. That'd be a really good pairing because I think Reed has a really good upside in this matchup. He could go for like 5 for 60 and like 2 touchdowns. And if he does something like that and you got Alex Smith as well, and that's going to push you up the leaderboards in a tournament setting. So at 5,000, the price tag did go up. But like I said in the leading up to the season, when this guy's healthy, he looked really good in week 1. And he's going to be healthy again here going into week 2. And when he is, he's a top 5 tight end. So I think you got to take advantage of him when he is healthy here. Again, at 5,000, he is their red zone option, the number 1 guy in the red zone. And another thing here working in his favor, I did say the Colts defense is really bad, but they do have two solid guys. Their free safety is solid, and their slot cornerback Kenny Moore has been really quietly solid for them. He had a really good game week 1, and in the end of 2017, he was having some really good performances. So with Jordan Reed here in this game, I think Kenny Moore could limit a guy like Jamison Crowder in the slot a little bit. That could open things up over the middle of the field for Jordan Reed, giving maybe a few more targets and stuff like that. And like I said, he has that touchdown upside. We saw the touchdown week 1 with him. Could easily happen again here against the Colts defense, which is not very good, besides those 2 guys like I mentioned. So that's my first guy. And now with some more value, going back to the well with my boy Eric Ebron. I can't stop mentioning him in my videos. But yet again here, a good leverage point because we saw Jack Doyle have a solid game again week 1 on paper. But still, he did not look very good. He wasn't creating much separation. It's just because the opportunity was there. He was getting a lot of looks and stuff like that. But besides that, the guy isn't great. I mean, he is what he is. Eric Ebron is going to give this offense so much more if they turn to him a little bit more. So I think he could get a few more snaps in this game and have that upside yet again. Like I said in week 1, he's going to be a red zone target for this team. They really need a guy that can go up and get the ball, and Eric Ebron can definitely do that. And Jack Doyle made a costly mistake last week. He had the game-losing fumble when they were driving on the field. So obviously that's going to be in the back of the coach's mind. Like, say he drops the pass like in the first drive. I think that's going to keep on ticking in his mind, and then Eric Ebron could easily find his way in the field a little bit more than Jack Doyle. And I think Indianapolis is going to be working from behind in this game. They actually ran the most plays out of any team in week 1. The first 2 were the Steelers and the Browns, but that was because they went to overtime. They were playing in 5 quarters, which is a little bit unfair. But they ran 77 plays, which is the most compared to every other team that didn't play in OT. So at 3,500, I think their opportunity is going to be there. Some more snaps could easily be there. Jack Doyle disappoints again, so 3,500. Good upside, good GPP play. And for my final one, Ricky Seals-Jones, mentioned him in my first video this week. And the same reasoning goes. Like, the Rams defense really solid on the outside. You want to kind of funnel things into the inside against this defense. Like we saw Jared Cook go off week 1. Had like 9 catches for 180 yards. And Ricky Seals-Jones, I think he can get like 5 to 6 catches, maybe good for like 60 yards. He's a really good athlete and just a good, I think, tight end. I think he'll continue to progress. I think he'll be a nice little force for this Cardinals offense. Hopefully Sam Bradford can play better than he did in week 1. He looked terrible. But Seals-Jones, he was like the number 1 tight end fantasy points per opportunity in 2017. So when he does get his opportunity, normally he capitalizes on it. So this is a chance for him to show his worth and a good matchup against the Rams. So at 2,900, really good value there is my final tight end. For my defense now, Saints defense, we're going to leverage everyone being butthurt about them absolutely pooping the bed against Tampa Bay week 1. But this is a good bounce back spot. Going against Tyrod Taylor, who holds the ball way too much. He's going to force some sacks here as they're down. He'll be looking for guys down the field, and then it'll just be sacks. So I think the Saints can get some more pressure on the quarterback this week. Maybe force a turnover or 2. Tyrod can fumble and throw a pick here and there too. And so at 3,200, they're going to be pissed off about last week getting obliterated by Tampa Bay. And I still think the Saints defense is good. even though Fitzpatrick showed off his magic ability in week 1. I think they'll bounce back. They have way too many good guys in defense to not do so. So at 3,200, a really good value. Like if we came into this week 1 and it was against Cleveland, they'd probably be priced maybe around 3,800 here. So you got to take advantage of the recency bias, I think, in this matchup. So that's a really good value and good GPP option. And then for my second one, I'm going to go with the Patriots defense. Really underrated unit. I think they're top 10, maybe even flirting with a top 5 defense in the league. If you kind of stack them up with other defenses right now, probably long term they're more top 10. But right now they looked like one of the best defenses in all football week 1. They got an interception, fumble recovery, and 3 sacks there. It was against a depleted O-line. But still, Jacksonville and Blake Bortles can be sacked, and we know that Bortles can turn the ball over a good amount here. And this Jacksonville receiving corps isn't good, so I think they could really struggle creating separation as long as Belichick doesn't run some stupid scheme where he's like playing prevent defense. Sometimes he can do that, but if they just play sound football, send some blitzes Bortles' way, I think he can turn the ball over a few times, and like I said, get some sacks. They have a much better pass rushing unit this year with Claiborne added from the Falcons, who can get out the passer and stuff like that, and Trey Flowers continues to get better at defensive end for them. So at 3,000, really good upside if the Jacksonville Jaguars get down. We know that Bortles could just poop the bed there. So that's my second defense. And for my final one, I'm going to go with the Vikings here. It's a leverage point against the Packers. We know that people kind of can get a little bit afraid of seeing like Aaron Rodgers on the other side of the field, so they don't really want to go with the defense against them. But Mike Zimmer and the Vikings, they have Aaron Rodgers' number. And he's not going to be 100% in entering this game. He kind of worked on some adrenaline at the end of the game against the Bears, which helped him. He actually said that in the post-game post-game interview. He's saying like he was working on adrenaline. So that's not going to be as prevalent, I think, in this game against the Vikings. When he first starts the game, he's going to be thinking about it more in the back of his mind, I think, because the adrenaline won't be pumping as much. And this Vikings defense kind of just not exposes him, but really matches up well against them because he can't get comfortable in the pocket. They always have pressure in his face, and it just kind of takes him off his spot. And he's not going to be able to avoid as many sacks here in this game because he doesn't have that getaway ability because he has a bum knee. So at 2,600, a really good value for one of the best defenses in football. So I'm going to take advantage of that matchup all day. So those are all the plays for your tournament talk for week 2. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I got some good content or good information, hopefully. And if you don't like any of the plays, you don't have to play them. I'm not forcing you to play these guys, just some of my thoughts. And if you agree with me, then you can go ahead and roll them out in your own lineup. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Be sure to slap a like in the video if you did. And if you want to see these videos continued, and this really helps me out, thank you if you can do that. And also hit the subscribe button. Like I said, if you haven't already, just subscribe to the channel. That helps me out as well. And hit that bell icon to get alerted. So good luck on this week 2 slate. I hope you win some tournament cash, place high, or even win the tournament. That would be even more amazing. So comment any questions you might have down below in the video. And you can follow me on Twitter as well, @MoneyWebby, for any more questions on the slate. So that is it. Good luck, and we'll see you back here again next time.